The transport ship Unity slowly approached the massive space station that hung in the darkness of space like a giant metal flower. Dr. Elena Vasquez pressed her face against the small window and watched as the station grew larger. This was it. The moment humanity had dreamed about for centuries. First contact with alien life. Are you ready for this? Asked Dr. James Park, checking his equipment one more time. He was the team's medical officer, a calm man who always seemed prepared for anything. Elena nodded and looked around at her team. There were 5 humans total on this historic mission. Besides herself and James, there was Dr. Lisa Chun, their technology specialist, Captain Mike Rodriguez, their security officer, and Professor David Kim, their linguist and cultural expert. All of them had trained for years for this moment. The space station was huge, much bigger than anything humans had ever built. It was made of strange materials that seemed to change color as the light hit them. Tall towers stretched out in all directions, and Elena could see ships from different worlds docked at various ports. Each ship looked completely different from the others. "Docking complete," announced their ship's computer. "Atmosphere is safe for human life. Temperature is normal. You may remove your helmets once inside the station." Elena felt her heart beating fast as they walked through the airlock. The corridor beyond was wide and tall, clearly built for beings much larger than humans. The walls were covered in symbols they had never seen before, and soft music played from hidden speakers. "Welcome, humans of Earth," came a voice from somewhere above them. The words were clear, but the voice sounded strange, like it was coming through water. "Please follow the blue lights to the meeting chamber." Blue lights began to glow along the floor, creating a path deeper into the station. As they walked, Elena noticed small cameras following their every move. She also saw other beings watching them from doorways and windows. Some looked almost human but with different colored skin. Others were completely alien. The first being they met face to face was waiting at the entrance to a large room. It was tall and thin, with pale blue skin and 4 arms. Its eyes were large and completely black. It wore what looked like a white suit that covered its entire body. "I am Ambassador Thane of the Kalori people," the being said, through a speaking device attached to its suit. "I welcome you to the Galactic Council Station." Elena stepped forward. "I am Dr. Elena Vasquez, representing humanity. We are honored to be here." She reached out her hand for a handshake, but Ambassador Thane stepped back quickly. "Please forgive me," Thane said. "We must complete medical procedures first. It is required for all new species." Elena noticed that Thane never came closer than 10 feet to any of the humans. In fact, all the aliens in the room were keeping their distance. She counted at least 12 different species, and each one was wearing some kind of protective equipment. "Is there a problem?" Captain Rodriguez asked, his hand moving instinctively toward his weapon. "No problem," Thane said quickly. "Just standard procedures. Dr. Kess will explain." A new alien appeared, walking on 8 thin legs like a giant spider. Its body was covered in dark green shell, and it had multiple eyes that seemed to look in all directions at once. It also wore protective clothing. "I am Dr. Kess, Chief Medical Officer," the spider-like being said. "We need to take readings of your biological functions. Please do not be alarmed." Dr. Kess pulled out a device that looked like a small metal box with lights on it. When it was pointed at Elena, the lights began flashing red very quickly. "Impossible," Dr. Kess whispered. The device was making loud beeping sounds. "The readings cannot be correct." "What readings?" Dr. Park asked, stepping closer. Several aliens moved backward when he approached. Dr. Kess looked at the device again, then at the humans, then back at the device. "Your heart rate, it shows 72 beats per minute. This cannot be right. No living being can survive with such rapid heart activity." Elena laughed. "That's normal for humans." Actually, that's pretty slow for me. I'm nervous, so it should be higher. The room became very quiet. Dr. Kess touched several buttons on the device. Your body temperature reads 98.6 degrees. This is hot enough to cook food in many of our cultures. Again, that's normal, Dr. Park said. All humans maintain that temperature. More aliens were gathering around the edges of the room now, but none came close. Elena could hear them whispering to each other in languages she could not understand. The whispering sounded worried. Dr. Kess scanned each human in turn. With every reading, the alien doctor seemed more confused and frightened. Your blood pressure, your brain activity, your cellular regeneration rates, everything is impossibly high. You should all be dead. Well, we're not, Dr. Chun said with a smile. We feel fine. Ambassador Thane was talking quickly into a communication device. Elena could not understand the words, but the tone sounded urgent. Perhaps we should begin the official meeting, Elena suggested. We have documents to sign and gifts to exchange. Yes, of course, Thane said, though the alien still sounded nervous. Please, this way. They were led to a large table in the center of the room. The table was made of a smooth white material that seemed to glow with its own light. Papers were laid out for signing, along with various writing instruments. Elena picked up what looked like a pen and began reading the first document. The words were in English, clearly translated by some advanced computer system. As she read, she noticed that all the aliens were watching her very carefully. This looks good, she said. Standard first contact agreement, peaceful relations, information exchange, mutual respect. She began to sign her name at the bottom of the first page. The pen was sharp, sharper than she expected. As she wrote the letter E, the pen cut into her finger. Ouch, she said, pulling her hand back. A small drop of bright red blood appeared on her finger. The reaction was immediate and terrifying. Every alien in the room began making loud noises. Some screamed, others made clicking sounds, and several just fell over. Ambassador Thane shouted something in its own language, and red lights began flashing throughout the room. Contamination alert, announced the station's computer. Biological hazard detected. Initiating emergency protocols. What's happening? Captain Rodriguez shouted, drawing his weapon. Elena looked at her finger. The cut was tiny, barely visible. It's just a small cut. I'm fine. But the aliens were not fine. Dr. Kess had fallen backward and was not moving. Ambassador Thane was pressed against the far wall, speaking rapidly into its communication device. Other aliens were running out of the room. Metal barriers began dropping from the ceiling, separating the humans from the aliens. The room filled with a strange mist that smelled like cleaning chemicals. Quarantine initiated, the computer announced. All biological material must be contained. Elena looked at her teammates. They all looked as confused as she felt. Through the metal barrier, she could see Ambassador Thane talking to other aliens. They all looked terrified. Dr. Vasquez, came Thane's voice through a speaker. We must end this meeting. Your biology is ... unexpected. We need time to understand. But it's just a tiny cut, Elena said, holding up her finger. The bleeding had already stopped. Look, it's already healing. This seemed to make things worse. The aliens on the other side of the barrier moved even further away. We will contact you soon, Thane said. Please return to your ship. We must study this situation. As the humans were escorted back to their ship by robots instead of living beings, Elena could not understand what had gone wrong. It was supposed to be a simple first contact meeting. Instead, it felt like they had just declared war by accident. What do you think that was about? Dr. Park asked as they walked back through the empty corridors. Elena touched the small bandage she had put on her finger. I have no idea. But I think we just learned that human biology is very different from everyone else's. Behind them, alarms were still sounding throughout the station, and Elena could see medical teams in protective suits cleaning the meeting room they had just left. 3 hours after the humans returned to their ship, emergency meetings were happening all across the space station. Dr. Kess had recovered from fainting, but the spider-like alien was still shaking as it reviewed the medical data from the scanners. "This cannot be real," Dr. Kess said to the assembled medical council. Representatives from 12 different species sat around a circular table, each one looking at the same impossible readings. No species in the galaxy has biology like this. Ambassador Thane leaned forward, its 4 arms folded on the table. "Explain it to us again, Doctor. What exactly is wrong with human biology?" Dr. Kess activated a holographic display that showed the human medical readings. Red numbers flashed everywhere, indicating critical emergency levels. "Everything," the doctor said simply. "Everything is wrong." The first chart showed heart activity. Their cardiac rhythm shows 60 to 100 beats per minute during rest. "For comparison, my people's hearts beat 12 times per minute." The fourth crystalline. "Beings have cardiac activity once every 5 minutes. These humans, their hearts are working so hard they should explode." A gaseous being named Nim floated closer to the display. The Namari species lived in a constant state of slow motion, their biology working at what they considered a safe, steady pace. "Are you certain the readings are accurate? Perhaps their equipment is different from ours." "I tested our scanners 3 times, Dr. Kess replied. "The readings are correct, but that is not the worst part." The next chart showed cellular activity. Their cells are dividing and regenerating at incredible speeds. Look at this data. Human skin cells completely replace themselves every 27 days. Their blood cells live for only 120 days before being destroyed and replaced. This level of cellular activity should cause immediate organ failure. A crystalline fourth delegate, whose body was made of living crystal that grew over centuries, made a sound like breaking glass. "Impossible. Our cells last for decades before any change occurs. How do they survive such rapid cellular destruction?" Dr. Kess brought up another chart. "It gets worse. Their immune systems are hyperactive beyond any known limits. Look at these white blood cell counts. They have billions of immune cells constantly moving through their bodies, attacking anything they consider foreign." "But surely this kills them?" asked Dr. Vale, a tall gray-skinned Kalari who specialized in genetics. "Such immune activity would destroy healthy tissue." "That is what should happen," Dr. Kess agreed. "But somehow it does not. Their immune systems are so powerful they can fight off diseases that would kill most of us instantly. Yet they do not attack their own bodies." The hologram showed bacterial counts next. "And then there is this horror. Each human carries approximately 100 trillion bacterial organisms inside their bodies." Complete silence filled the room. Several delegates stepped back from the display. That cannot be right," whispered Dr. Vale. 100 trillion bacteria would be enough to kill every being on the station 10 times over. "The bacteria live inside them," Dr. Kess continued. "In their digestive systems, on their skin, in their mouths. They call it normal flora. The bacteria help them digest food and protect them from disease." A Namari delegate made a sound like escaping gas, which was how their species expressed shock. "They live in symbiosis with bacteria? How do they not die from infection?" "Because their immune systems are strong enough to control the bacteria while allowing the helpful ones to live. It is a biological balance that should be impossible." Dr. Kess pulled up temperature readings next. Their core body temperature remains constant at 37 degrees Celsius. This is hot enough to denature proteins in most of our species. Yet they maintain this temperature at all times. "How?" asked Ambassador Thane. "What kind of metabolism could produce such heat?" A metabolism that burns energy at rates we consider lethal, Dr. Kess replied. They consume food multiple times per day and convert it to energy constantly. Their bodies are like furnaces that never stop burning. The doctor activated another display showing brain activity. Their neural activity is equally extreme. Their brains consume 20% of their total energy, constantly firing electrical signals at speeds that would overload our nervous systems. Are they in constant pain? Asked Dr. Vale, genuinely concerned. No, they consider this normal. In fact, when I asked them how they felt, they said they felt fine and seemed confused by our concern. Dr. Kess saved the most disturbing information for last. And finally, there is their blood. The hologram showed a sample of human blood, bright red and thick. Their blood contains iron-based compounds that turn red when exposed to oxygen. When they are injured, this red fluid flows out of their bodies. We saw this during the meeting. Ambassador Thane said quietly, when the female human cut her finger. The sight of that red liquid. It is not toxic, Dr. Kess said. We analyzed the sample they left behind. But the sight of red fluid flowing from a living being. It is deeply disturbing to most species. Dr. Vale studied the data carefully. Doctor, based on all of this information, what is your medical opinion? How are these humans still alive? Dr. Kess was quiet for a long moment. They should not be. By every measure we use to determine biological health, they should have died. Within minutes of birth. Their bodies are in a constant state of what we would call medical emergency. Could this be some kind of disease? Suggested Nim. Perhaps they are all suffering from the same biological disorder. I considered that possibility, Dr. Kess replied. But they show no signs of illness. They are active, alert, and apparently healthy. This appears to be normal human biology. Ambassador Thane stood up slowly. Are they dangerous to us? Could exposure to humans harm other species? I do not know, Dr. Kess admitted. We have never encountered biology like this. They might carry diseases we cannot fight. Their high body temperature could be harmful to species that require cooler environments. Even their breath might be toxic to some of us. What do you recommend? Asked Dr. Vale. Dr. Kess looked at the data one more time. We need more information. Much more. I recommend we ask for volunteers from their species to undergo detailed medical examination. We need to understand how they survive with such extreme biology. And if they refuse? Asked Ambassador Thane. Then we may have to consider whether humans are too dangerous to allow into galactic society, Dr. Kess said quietly. A species with biology this extreme could be a threat to every other life form in the galaxy. The medical council sat in silence, each delegate thinking about the implications. They had expected to welcome humanity into their peaceful community of civilized species. Instead, they had discovered beings whose very existence challenged everything they understood about life itself. I will contact the humans, Ambassador Thane finally said. We will request more detailed medical examinations. Perhaps when we understand their biology better, we will know how to proceed. And if we discover they are too dangerous? Asked Dr. Vale. Ambassador Thane's large black eyes reflected the holographic display of human medical data. Then we will have to make a very difficult decision about humanity's future in the galaxy. The meeting ended with more questions than answers, and every delegate left wondering the same thing. How could beings with such impossible biology even exist, and what did their existence mean for everyone else? 2 days later, Ambassador Thane contacted the human ship with an unusual request. Elena and her team gathered around their communication screen to hear what the aliens wanted. Dr. Vasquez, Thane's voice came through the speakers. We would like to invite you back to the station. Our medical council has many questions about human biology. Would you be willing to participate in some tests? Elena looked at her team. They had spent the last 2 days wondering what had gone wrong during their first meeting. "What kind of tests?" she asked. "Simple physical examinations," Thane replied. "We want to understand how your bodies work. It would help us adjust our safety protocols." Dr. Park nodded at Elena. "It might help them get used to us," he said quietly. "If they understand we're not dangerous, maybe we can continue with the diplomatic mission." "We agree," Elena said. "When would you like us to come back?" "As soon as possible. Dr. Kess has prepared a special testing facility. Do not worry, you will be safe." An hour later, the humans returned to the space station. This time, they were met by robots instead of living beings. The robots led them through different corridors to a large room filled with strange equipment. The walls were made of transparent material, and Elena could see dozens of aliens watching from the other side. Dr. Kess appeared on a screen mounted on the wall. "Welcome back, humans. We have prepared several tests to help us understand your biology. Are you ready to begin? What's the first test?" Dr. Park asked, looking around at the equipment. "Physical exercise," Dr. Kess replied. "We want to observe how your bodies respond to activity. Dr. Park, please step onto the machine in the center of the room." Dr. Park walked over to what looked like a treadmill, but much larger and more complex than anything humans had built. Sensors and monitors surrounded it on all sides. "What do you want me to do?" "Simply walk at a comfortable pace," Dr. Kess said. "We will monitor your biological functions." Dr. Park stepped onto the machine and began walking slowly. Immediately, alarms started going off. Red lights flashed throughout the room, and the aliens watching from behind the glass moved backward. "His heart rate has increased to 85 beats per minute," Dr. Kess announced, sounding worried. "This is already in the danger zone for most species." "I'm just walking," Dr. Park said, confused by the reaction. "This is easy for me. Should I walk faster?" "No," Dr. Kess shouted. "Please maintain your current pace." But Dr. Park had already started jogging lightly. To him, it felt like a gentle morning run. To the aliens watching, it looked like he was killing himself. "Heart rate 120 beats per minute," Dr. Kess called out. Breathing rate increased. Body temperature rising. He should collapse any moment. Dr. Park smiled and waved at the aliens behind the glass. "I feel great. Want me to run faster?" Several aliens fainted. Others made loud noises of distress. Dr. Kess was frantically pushing buttons on a control panel. "Please stop," Dr. Kess begged. "Your body cannot handle this level of stress." Dr. Park slowed down to a walk, then stopped completely. "That was just a light jog," he said. "I could run like that for an hour easily." The room became very quiet. Dr. Kess appeared to be having trouble speaking. "Your heart rate. It's returning to normal levels. How is this possible?" "Exercise is good for humans," Dr. Park explained. "We do it every day to stay healthy. Exercise ... is good for you." Dr. Kess repeated slowly, as if the words made no sense. "The next test involves temperature," Dr. Kess announced after a few minutes. "Dr. Chun, please enter the chamber on your left." Dr. Chun walked into a small room that immediately became very hot. The temperature display showed numbers climbing rapidly. "How hot will it get?" she asked. "We are testing your tolerance to environmental extremes," Dr. Kess replied. "Please tell us when you become uncomfortable." The temperature reached 40 degrees Celsius. Most alien species would have gone into emergency hibernation by now. Dr. Chun just stood there, looking slightly warm. "It's getting warm in here," she said. "Kind of like a summer day back home." The aliens were watching in amazement. At 45 degrees, Dr. Chun began to sweat. The sight of water coming out of her skin caused another wave of shock among the observers. "She is leaking fluid," one of the aliens said through the intercom. "It's called sweating," Dr. Chun explained. Our bodies cool themselves by releasing water through our skin. It's completely normal. Your body cools itself? Dr. Kess asked, by releasing internal fluids? Yes, the evaporation of sweat cools our skin and keeps our body temperature stable. Dr. Kess was quiet for a long time. This is the most advanced biological cooling system we have ever encountered. Most species simply die when they overheat. The temperature test continued until Dr. Chien asked to stop, not because she was in danger, but because she was getting thirsty. She had remained fully functional in temperatures that would have killed most galactic species within minutes. The final test is psychological stress, Dr. Kess announced. Dr. Lisa Chun, we will present you with scenarios designed to test mental pressure. Please remain in the chamber. The walls around Dr. Chun began showing images designed to cause fear and anxiety. Loud noises played through speakers. Flashing lights tried to disorient her. Dr. Kess and the other aliens expected her to break down quickly. Instead, something unexpected happened. As the stress increased, Dr. Chun became more alert and focused. Her reaction times improved. Her thinking became clearer. Her adrenaline levels are rising, Dr. Kess observed. She should be losing cognitive function, but her performance is actually improving. Stress makes humans more capable? Ambassador Thane asked through the intercom. To a point, yes, Dr. Chun replied, easily handling the psychological pressure. Our bodies release chemicals that help us deal with dangerous situations. It's called the fight or flight response. Fight or flight, Dr. Kess repeated. When humans face danger, our bodies prepare us to either fight the threat or run away from it. Either way, we become stronger and faster for a short time. The aliens could not believe what they were seeing. Every test designed to show human limitations instead demonstrated impossible capabilities. The final shock came when Dr. Kess decided to test human immune systems. We will now expose you to various galactic pathogens, Dr. Kess announced. These are diseases from different worlds. They are contained and safe, but we want to see how your immune system responds. Dr. Park volunteered for this test. Small amounts of alien bacteria and viruses were introduced into a sealed chamber where he breathed normally. Dr. Kess expected to see signs of infection within hours. Instead, the monitoring equipment showed something incredible. Dr. Park's white blood cells immediately recognized the foreign organisms and began attacking them. His immune system adapted to each new threat in real time, developing responses that neutralized the pathogens before they could cause any harm. Impossible, Dr. Kess whispered. His immune system is learning and adapting faster than we can introduce new threats. Some of these diseases take days to overcome with our best medical treatments. I feel fine, Dr. Park said. Actually, I feel great. Is the test finished? Dr. Kess stared at the medical readings. In just 4 hours of testing, the humans had demonstrated biological capabilities that no other species possessed. They could exercise at levels that would kill most beings, survive in extreme temperatures, improve their performance under stress, and fight off diseases instantly. The tests are complete, Dr. Kess announced quietly. Please return to your ship. We need to discuss these results. As the humans left the testing facility, the aliens behind the glass stood in stunned silence. They had wanted to understand human biology. Now they understood it, and they were more frightened than ever. The humans were not just biologically different. They were biologically superior in ways that challenged everything the galaxy thought it knew about life itself. The test results were so shocking that Ambassador Thane decided immediate action was needed. Within hours of the experiments, the Galactic Council approved an emergency research mission to Earth itself. They needed to understand how such impossible biology had developed. We must see their home world, Thane told the assembled council. These humans did not become this way by accident. Their planet holds the answers. Dr. Kess led the research team, which included evolutionary biologists and anthropologists from 8 different species. They boarded a fast research ship and followed the humans back toward their solar system. The journey took 3 days. During the trip, the alien scientists studied every piece of information they could find about Earth. What they discovered made them increasingly worried. "Look at these atmospheric readings," said Dr. Vale, the Kalari geneticist. 21% oxygen. That level of oxygen would be toxic to most species. How do they breathe it? "Their blood chemistry is adapted for high oxygen," Dr. Kess replied. "But that is not the concerning part. Look at the climate data." The ship's computer displayed Earth's weather patterns. Dr. Nim, the gaseous Nimari scientist, made sounds of distress as the information appeared. "Impossible," Nim whispered. "Temperature variations of 100 degrees or more. Violent storms with winds over 200 kilometers per hour. Massive electrical discharges from the sky. This planet is actively trying to kill everything on it." "It gets worse," Dr. Vale added, pulling up geological data. "Earthquakes that can level entire cities. Volcanic eruptions that block out the sun for months. Massive waves called tsunamis that destroy coastlines. How does any life survive there?" Dr. Kess was studying biological data. "According to our information, Earth has experienced at least 5 mass extinction events. Each time, most life on the planet died. Yet somehow, life returned stronger than before. When they finally arrived at Earth, the alien scientists' worst fears were confirmed. Even from space, the planet looked dangerous. Massive storm systems swirled across the surface. Lightning flickered constantly through the atmosphere. The polar ice caps showed evidence of recent climate changes. Class 12 Death World announced their ship's computer after completing its scan. "Warning, this planet is extremely hazardous to most known life forms. Approach with extreme caution." Ambassador Thane received permission from the humans to land and conduct research. Elena met them at a landing site in what humans called North America. The aliens arrived wearing full environmental suits. "Welcome to Earth," Elena said cheerfully. "Beautiful day, isn't it?" The alien scientists looked around in horror. The temperature was 25 degrees Celsius, which felt pleasant to Elena, but was uncomfortably warm for most of them. A gentle breeze was blowing, which their sensors registered as potentially dangerous air movement. "This is what you consider a beautiful day?" Dr. Kess asked through the communication system in its suit. "Perfect weather," Elena confirmed. "Not too hot, not too cold. Great for being outdoors." Dr. Vale was scanning the immediate area with scientific instruments. "I am detecting thousands of different microorganisms in the air. The bacterial count alone should be lethal." "That's normal," Elena said. "Earth's atmosphere is full of life. Most of it is harmless to us." The research team spent their first day studying Earth's environment. Everything they discovered supported their growing theory about human evolution. The planet was a nightmare of environmental hazards. "Show us your wildlife," Dr. Kess requested. "We want to understand what other life forms developed here." Elena led them to a nature preserve where they could observe Earth animals safely. The aliens' first encounter was with a group of deer peacefully grazing in a field. "These creatures seem harmless," Dr. Nim observed. "They are," Elena agreed. "Deer are gentle plant eaters, but watch out for bears." "Bears?" Dr. Vale asked Dot as if summoned by the conversation. A large brown bear emerged from the forest. It was over 2 meters tall and weighed several hundred kilograms. When it stood on its hind legs to get a better look at the strangers, several alien scientists fell over in shock. "That creature could kill most beings with a single blow," Dr. Kess whispered. "Bears usually avoid humans," Elena said calmly. They're more afraid of us than we are of them. You are not afraid of that monster? Ambassador Thane asked. Not really. I mean, I respect bears and keep my distance, but they're just part of nature here. The research continued with more disturbing discoveries. The aliens learned about lions, sharks, poisonous snakes, disease-carrying insects, and hundreds of other creatures that would be considered apex predators on most worlds. Your entire planet is filled with creatures designed to kill, Dr. Vale said. How did your species survive? We learned to use tools, Alina explained. We got smarter and worked together. Eventually, we became the dominant species. You became dominant over creatures like that bear? Dr. Kess asked, looking back at the massive animal. Humans are the top predators on Earth now, Alina said matter-of-factly. We don't usually hunt bears anymore, but our ancestors did. The aliens spent 3 days cataloging Earth's dangers. Poisonous plants, venomous animals, disease-carrying parasites, extreme weather events, natural disasters, and environmental hazards that would make most planets uninhabitable. I want to understand human development, Dr. Kess said on the 4th day. Show us how humans live with all these dangers. Elena took them to a human city. The aliens expected to see a fortress-like settlement with massive defenses against the hostile environment. Instead, they found humans living openly, many of them outside enjoying the dangerous weather. You build your homes with windows, Dr. Vale observed. Openings that allow the hostile environment inside. We like fresh air and sunlight, Alina said. Windows let us enjoy the outdoors while staying comfortable inside. And you allow your offspring to play outside? In this dangerous environment? Elena pointed to a nearby park where human children were running around, laughing and playing games. Exercise and outdoor activity are important for healthy development. Dr. Kess watched a human child climb a tall tree while its parents watched calmly. On most worlds, such risk-taking behavior would be considered child endangerment. Your species deliberately exposes itself to danger, Dr. Kess realized. You call it exercise, recreation, sports, you do it for fun. Physical activity makes us stronger, Elena explained. We like challenges. The aliens learned about human sports and recreational activities. Rock climbing, where humans scaled dangerous cliff faces for enjoyment. Swimming in natural bodies of water filled with unknown organisms. Running long distances until their bodies reached exhaustion, then doing it again the next day. This explains everything, Dr. Vale said quietly to the research team. Their biology developed on a world that constantly tried to kill them. Every aspect of their physical capabilities is a response to extreme evolutionary pressure. Dr. Kess was studying human medical data from Earth's hospitals. Look at this. Their medical treatments involve deliberately damaging their bodies to make them stronger. They call it vaccination. They introduce diseases into their children to build immunity, and surgery, Dr. Neem added. They cut themselves open and repair internal damage, then heal completely within weeks. The final piece of the puzzle came when the aliens observed human relationships with Earth's other dangerous species. They were shocked to discover that humans kept some of these creatures as companions. You live with carnivorous predators? Ambassador Thane asked, watching Elena pet a large dog. Dogs are our friends, Elena said. They've been companions too. Humans for thousands of years. But it has teeth designed for killing. Dogs are loyal and protective. They help us and we take care of them. The research team realized that humans had not just survived on their death world, they had formed partnerships with its other survivors. They had turned a planet trying to kill them into a home where they thrived. Their evolution is not an accident. Dr. Kess concluded. Every impossible aspect of human biology makes perfect sense when you understand their environment. They did not develop these capabilities despite their world's dangers. They developed them because of those dangers. The aliens finally understood. Humans were not biologically defective. They were the ultimate product of evolutionary pressure, shaped by a world so hostile that it had created beings capable of surviving anything the universe could offer. 2 weeks after returning from Earth, the Galactic Council held the most important meeting in their history. Representatives from 47 different species gathered to decide humanity's fate. The debate had been going on for 3 days, and tensions were high. "The evidence is clear," declared Senator Vex of the Aquarian Empire. "Humans are too dangerous to be allowed into galactic society. Their biology alone makes them a threat to every other species." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembly hall. Many delegates feared what humans might do with their superior physical capabilities. Others worried about diseases or biological contamination. That Ambassador Thane stood to address the council. "I understand the concerns, but we must consider all the evidence. Dr. Kess, please present your final report." Dr. Kess activated the holographic display, showing detailed data from the Earth expedition. "Fellow beings, I have studied human biology for weeks. Yes, their physical capabilities are extreme by our standards. But there is something more important we must discuss." The display showed videos of humans going about their daily lives on Earth. Children playing in parks, families having meals together, people helping strangers in need. "Despite their terrifying biology, humans are remarkably peaceful," Dr. Kess continued. "They have the physical capability to destroy most species, yet they choose cooperation over violence." Senator Vex interrupted. "But they are predators. We saw their planet. They evolved to kill." "Yes," Dr. Kess agreed. "But they evolved something else too. Intelligence, empathy, and social cooperation. Humans could easily dominate their planet through violence, but instead they built societies based on laws, art, and mutual support." Dr. Vale added her findings. "In our research, we discovered that humans actively suppress their biological advantages when interacting with each other. They have rules about fair fighting, protecting the weak, and helping those in need." "This is irrelevant," Senator Vex argued. "What happens when these Death World predators decide we are threats? What happens when their peaceful nature fails?" Ambassador Thane was about to respond when alarms began sounding throughout the station. Emergency lights flashed red, and the station's computer made an urgent announcement. "Critical alert. Solar flare detected. Massive electromagnetic pulse approaching. Station, all species evacuate to emergency shelters immediately." Panic filled the assembly hall. Delegates began rushing toward the exits, but more alarms sounded. "Life. Support systems damaged. Atmospheric processors failing. Temperature rising to dangerous levels." Dr. Kess checked the environmental readings. "The solar flare has damaged our primary systems. If we do not repair them quickly, the station will become uninhabitable. How long do we have?" Ambassador Thane asked. 6 hours before life support. "Fails completely," Dr. Kess replied. "But the radiation levels are already too high for most species to survive outside the emergency shelters." Senator Vex was heading for the nearest shelter. "Our emergency response teams can handle this. We just need to wait in the shelters until it is safe." "The response teams cannot work in these conditions," Dr. Kess said, checking more data. "The radiation and temperature levels are beyond safe limits for any galactic species." That was when Alina's voice came through the communication system. "This is Dr. Vasquez. We monitored your emergency signals. How can we help?" Ambassador Thane activated the reply system. "Dr. Vasquez, you must evacuate immediately. The solar flare has created deadly conditions throughout the station." "What kind of conditions?" Alina asked. Dr. Kess read the environmental data. "Radiation levels at 500 rems per hour, temperatures reaching 60 degrees Celsius, atmospheric pressure fluctuating wildly. These conditions would kill most species within minutes." There was silence for a moment, then Alina responded. That's challenging, but we can handle it. We're coming to help. No, Ambassador Thane shouted. You cannot survive in these conditions. We'll be fine, Elena said calmly. We brought radiation suits and cooling equipment. Our ship is designed for harsh environments. Senator Vex laughed bitterly from the shelter entrance. Let them try. When they die, it will prove my point about the dangers of associating with Death World species. But the humans did not die. Elena and her team arrived at the damaged sections of the station wearing protective equipment, but they moved easily through conditions that would have killed other species instantly. We found the main damage, Dr. Park reported over the radio. Multiple hull breaches in sections C7 through C12. Atmospheric processors are offline, and the main reactor is overheating. The aliens watched in amazement through security cameras as the humans worked calmly in the deadly environment. They moved efficiently, repairing complex systems while radiation and heat threatened to kill them. How are they functioning? Doctor, Kess whispered. Those radiation levels should cause immediate cell damage. Their biology, Dr. Vale realized. Their rapid cellular regeneration and powerful immune systems are protecting them from the radiation. For 4 hours, the humans worked without stopping. They repaired hull breaches, restored atmospheric processors, and stabilized the reactor. Tasks that would have taken alien emergency teams days to complete, assuming they could survive to attempt them. Atmospheric pressure restored, Elena reported. Temperature dropping to normal levels. Life support systems are back online. Doctor. Chun's voice joined the communication. We also found some improvements we could make to your systems. Want us to upgrade your emergency protocols while we're here? The station's emergency was over. The humans had worked in conditions that would have killed any other known species, and had not only survived, but had efficiently solved problems that the galaxy's best engineers could not have handled. As the all-clear signal sounded and aliens began emerging from their shelters, the assembly hall filled again. But the mood had completely changed. Senator Vex stood slowly, looking at the environmental readings that showed the station was now safer than it had been before the emergency. They saved us all. Ambassador Thane activated the communication system. Dr. Vasquez, on behalf of the Galactic Council, we thank you. You have saved thousands of lives today. Just glad we could help, Elena replied. That's what neighbors do for each other. The word neighbors hung in the air. The humans could have demanded payment, recognition, or political advantage for their rescue. Instead, they called it being neighborly. Dr. Kess stood to address the council. Fellow beings, I believe we have our answer about humanity. Yes, they are biologically superior to us in many ways. Yes, they come from a death world that created the ultimate survivors. But they are also beings who risk their lives to save strangers. They could have let us die, Dr. Vale added. They could have waited safely in their ship and claimed the station after we were gone. Instead, they rushed into deadly conditions. To help us, Ambassador Thane looked around the assembly hall. The humans have proven something important today. Superior biology does not mean superior aggression. Strength does not mean cruelty. They are powerful, but they choose to use that power to protect others. The vote was unanimous. Every species in the Galactic Council agreed to welcome humanity as full members. The same biological capabilities that had once seemed threatening were now recognized as exactly what the galaxy needed. The universe is vast and dangerous, Ambassador Thane said as the session concluded. There are worlds we cannot explore, crises we cannot handle, and challenges we cannot overcome. But now we have partners who can go where we cannot, survive what we cannot, and accomplish what we cannot. Elena accepted the Council's invitation with grace and humility. We look forward to working with all of you, she said. Together, we can explore places and solve problems that none of us could handle alone. As the ceremony ended, Dr. Kess noticed that many aliens were still keeping their distance from the humans. Some were still wearing protective equipment. But for the first time, it was not out of fear. It was out of respect for beings whose impossible biology had saved them all.